Welcome back to the Inward Nine, a fantasy golf metrics production. My name is Jeff Ball. We're talking the RBC Canadian Open this week. We're going to be doing a full Open Championship recap. Francesco Molinari taking home his first major last week, as we're all probably watching. Tiger back in the mix. Pretty crazy finish. Probably for me, maybe the most exciting golf tournament of the year. But we'll see what Fantasy Golf Metrics co-founder Steven Richter thinks. Steve, what do you think? Most exciting Sunday of the year?
I mean, it was pretty special to have so many guys in it. You had 6, 7 guys with a chance to win on the back nine, and a lot of them the biggest names in the game. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it's exactly what you hoped for, and Carnoustie produced a great event, as it normally does, and Molinari, I think there's no argument about who's been playing the best over the last 2 months, and he earned it and he deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was one of those things where we all saw it coming. I mean, some people didn't act on it appropriately, like probably me, but we all saw it coming. We all thought it was possible, and it happened, with Francesco Molinari. He's playing so well. Big step up in game as far as just being like a good all-around player. He's always been one of the best ball strikers in the world, but to do it so consistently, to see him make some of those putts on Sunday down the stretch. I mean, he wasn't just sinking 5-footers. He was sinking like 10, 12-footers for par. No bogeys on the weekend, and especially on Sunday when the wind was blowing and the way some of those holes were playing into the wind. Really, really incredible performance. But yeah, man, I mean, Tiger Woods leading a major championship with like 9 holes to go. Like, that was amazing. I mean,
that was so I don't know if you remember from the pod from last week, but I said I'd be probably listening in the car, and I actually was. I didn't get to watch, but
right.
That was the moment. I was up at like a lake house, and it was this Sunday morning. We're kind of just everyone's finishing up, and we're about to leave, but we're all hanging out, and that's when I started. And I'm tracking. I'm in and out of service, and I see that Tiger's solar lead, and I'm like, babe, that's it. That's it. We gotta go. I gotta get in the car. I gotta be listening. I need to know. And, it literally, I mean, listen, I was that way anyway, but I didn't have that rush. But the second that was it, I was like, I need no distraction. Yeah. I need to know play by play. And it was a classic Tiger moving the needle, situation.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, it was pretty insane. I mean, it sucked that he ended up, bogeying, and it was, because it was there. I mean, it was there for him to do. He really just came down to making that one mistake. Missed a couple of fairways, and then he got a little bit too cute. You could kind of see it coming because he saved par, and like with the really nice bunker the hole before. I think it was 10. He ended up doubling, or it might have been 11. I can't remember, but and then he just got he just bit off too much. He should have just taken the bogey there.
Well, that was it. It was interesting. I heard some kind of people talking about it, and it was like he did such an incredible job, a classic Tiger save on 10.
Yeah.
And then he's probably feeling himself a little bit like, oh, I'm Tiger Woods. And then, like you said, he got a little too cute. He just, I'm not saying that is the case, but it kind of felt like that, like, hey, like, do what you've been doing. It's not just going to be magic all the time like this last hole. And I think, like you said, he just kind of went a little too far, a little more conservative he needed to be.
I mean, you can't criticize him because he went for it, right?
No,
I mean, like,
course.
he didn't miss that shot by much either. It's not like he whiffed it. I don't know. I mean, we could sit here and second guess. It's interesting to talk about. He was. I really thought like he was going to start taking driver out down the stretch too, and he stuck with his iron game, which actually let him down off the tee. But we can second guess it all we want. I mean, it was still pretty cool to see and stuff like that. So, pretty solid week for the guy. Obviously, we had a few big misses. I think most people missed. I mean, obviously DJ missed the cut. Grace was a miss, but I mean, we had Molinari ranked up there. Rose was up there. Few other guys too, but yeah, I mean, overall, any big surprises for you? Like, just for people playing bad, playing good?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Grace, missing on the number, that was that stunk for us. We had a lot of exposure there, as you know. Like you said, yeah, Molinari we had second. I mean, yeah, DJ. I was a little surprised. I thought it seemed like he was going to come back too and get back into it, and then what do you think about that?
I really feel like the guy took basically like a month vacation after the U.S. Open, and I mean, he's Dustin Johnson, so he's fully capable of coming in and win a tournament. But you can tell. Look at his preparation up to the U.S. Open, and then look at his preparation for the British Open or the Open, whatever. And you can tell which tournament he thinks he's got a better chance at every year, and which one he really cares about. And I'm not saying he doesn't care, but I think you can. It's probably in his mind that every year he goes out at the U.S. Open, he's got a chance to win that tournament. It's set up so well for him. Whereas the Open, it's like, meh. If I play well, I play well. If I don't, I just move on. Like that's kind of the what I get with DJ for this tournament. That's why I was a little bit. I mean, I wasn't I wasn't telling people not to play him, but he wasn't. I also mentioned I'd rather pay down for Justin Rose, who I think had a better lead up and played the Scottish League before. So that was kind of my feeling on Dustin, and it's surprising to see him miss the cut, but I guess it wasn't as surprising to me as for some other people. So
yeah, I think it was surprising. Obviously, Ricky kind of just fell
yeah,
off the face. He was looking like he was going to contend. That stunk. That was.
He was in such a good position, and I mean I was watching as he hit the ball out of bounds. It was on Saturday.
Yep.
That he blew up. Easiest hole. It was playing so easy. He was, I think he was at 5 or 6 under at that point. He'd started well. And, it was funny because there's out of bounds to the left on that tee. And if you hit it as far right as you want, you might get in the hay and might not be able to go for the green into, but you're really not going to get in trouble. And I saw him lined up and I'm like, why the fuck is why is he so close to the out of bounds? And then he hit the shot and it just hooked a bit. I'm like, I don't know, man. It was a Ricky move. Like, why are you biting off that much on that hole? It made no sense, and it's disappointing to say the least. Look, I mean, I don't want to say I'm like done with Ricky, but that was disappointing. I mean, he's kind of becoming like Phil, like young Phil. Like he looks so good, and he's easy to like. But man, he makes some dumb mistakes because Phil Mickelson made some dumb mistakes in major championships when he was young too. So
it's disappointing to see, like you're so right with the Phil analogy. I mean, it's like he has all the talent, he puts himself in position, and then he just makes, he just doesn't have the best course management or just the best decision making ability. I don't know what it is. It's just too bad right now.
Yeah, it is. It's a little frustrating because, I mean, obviously we both kind of like him, but it does remind me of Phil when he was younger, and because Phil was bad in majors for that. I mean, he didn't win his first majors. He was 35, so Ricky's getting up there too. He's almost 30 if he's not already 30, but it'll happen one day, but it might take longer than people think. So, anyways, yeah, that was disappointing. That was tilting because I watched that live and I had some Ricky. So, but
and I'm trying to think. I'm glad I didn't eat my words on Finau. I had that rant last week about how he was priced there, so that worked out. We had him up there, and
yeah, that's true. I mean, you were saying don't go overweight on Finau. So
he's going. Absolutely. I mean, I said that about Rilo too, but I think I had the conviction of Finau a little more, so I'll take that. But yeah, with Finau, it's. I was making the joke. I mean, he's going for like the poor man's Ricky. He's going for a top 10 in all 4 majors. Now he finished 9th, so he's going to have a chance to be top 10 in all 4 come Belle Reve. So, I mean, listen, he's just having a breakout year. I mean, listen, you want him to win, but this is his best season, even though he doesn't have the win. Like, it's not even close, the quality of golf that he's playing, and, really strong outing for him.
I mean, I know probably what most people would say, but who would you take at the PGA Championship? Who's got a better shot to win, Finau or Xander?
I mean, you got to figure Xander but I mean, I wouldn't, like, if I'm basing it just off of numbers and I didn't know who the 2 players were, I would probably go with Tony. I'd go with Finau, but you see Xander's a guy. I mean, listen, he won what he went out. He won the Tour Championship. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but he still hasn't won. I mean, let's see, he finished top 5 or he finished 4th at last year's U.S. Open. Obviously, this finish, so he's putting himself more in position. He hasn't gotten the win, but it's like he was a shot or 2 out. So
top 5 U.S. Open, two top 10s at the U.S. Open last 2 years. T2 at the Players, and then this. I mean, like he had a shot. I mean, if Molinari misses that birdie putt. Or even if Xander just hits a better approach on 18, like yeah. I mean he's I guess he bogeyed 17, but he had a shot down. He was really the only one with a legit shot to take down Molinari. So very impressive. I thought he had imploded on the front 9, and then I realized it was only at -5, and then he started making a couple birdies, and it's like, wow, is this actually going to happen? I mean. I think we might have talked about him a little bit on the pod. He was a player late Wednesday night that I was like, man, this this price is pretty good, and I mentioned it to you in a text, but like the three missed cuts out of his last five events, I think threw some people off, including myself. I just didn't quite have the trust there because it really was a pretty good price for guys who performed so well in majors.
Yeah,
So
it was a gut play. I mean, you couldn't argue that the form was exactly there enough. But if you went with that route of, listen, this is a guy that just he's been showing up. He's a premier ball striker, and we know ball striking
yeah,
always shows up in the majors, and he's had that record. I mean, that was the play. I mean, you did mention him to me. I think he was even on the pod. We were talking about guys that you'd be willing to go with in that price range, and he came up on the private chat that we have. But yeah, I mean, for us, I think he only was in the top of the third class because if you don't make cuts, like it's hard to show form, and we base our the models so much form related. So
mhm.
it's maybe we'll look at that. Maybe we'll look at for future majors, like guys that just have good major records and incorporate that, because it is interesting. I mean, he has shown up in big events regardless of form, it seems. It's listen, I shouldn't say that because he's still 2 years into his real career, but
Yeah,
in that short sample size, he's definitely shown up.
impressive performance nonetheless. Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, so many guys in it, obviously. Spieth and Kisner and guys like that, a little bit shocking. I mean, who's the most? I was pretty surprised to see Kisner out there, to be honest. I mean, I think he's got the right game for the Open, but I mean, to see him up there, he was really just riding a hot putter, wasn't he? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of ridiculous the first 2 days.
well, what did I say? I said to you, I mean, I made that joke is when Van de Velde played, he set the record for the least amount in an Open
Right.
Championship, least amount of putts, and then Kisner goes out and has the 22 putts in the first round. It was outrageous.
Yeah.
It couldn't. I mean, listen, if you could sustain it, he would have won, but you can't even. You can't putt at that level for 4 straight days in those conditions. To be honest, I would have been extremely disappointed if Jordan Spieth won. And everyone knows I'm not a Spieth hater. I root for it. I want to see good things. I just the idea it would have made me feel so. It would have given me an inability to feel like I can handicap Spieth moving forward. Like it just doesn't matter what his form is, what he does. He just has the ability to kind of show up in these events because he's a great player, obviously with the majors he's won already. So it's just, but I like to see when predictability occurs. I mean that's what
Yeah,
we're here to do.
absolutely.
I mean most people would want that, but Spieth wasn't even on the radar. I mean, listen, he's always, I guess you got to consider him, but he wasn't up there in the ranks for us. So to have him go out and win that major, and especially 'cause it looked like he had a chance to go win it like easily. After he had that day on Saturday, he could have just went out and shot 2 under, 3 under, and it's a blowout. So I wasn't rooting against him, but I'm glad that I didn't get to see I was nowhere
What
near the winner.
would have thrown your world into a little out of
Yeah,
whack. Yeah, I
exactly.
know. I think it would have thrown a lot of people's worlds a little out of whack for that reason. I mean, look, we talk. I remember talking at the start of the year in our first pod. I mean, I still hold to this, especially after this week. But I think Spieth just has the perfect game for Open Championship. He's got the ability to get to putt on these slow surfaces and make a ton of putts, just like Kisner. But his ball striking is more elite, and he's a really good wind player. And these courses aren't super long, so and the rough isn't like U.S. Open style, so it really favors his game in my opinion, and it takes away from the advantage some of the bombers have at say a U.S. Open. I think he's going to win this event multiple times, including the one he's already won. So I guess I wasn't shocked from that standpoint. At the same time, I'm like you. I mean, I want some predictability. I want recent form to mean something, and to see him go out there and do it, even though knowing I know this is a good event for him, it's the same feeling. It's like,
Hmm.
man, like this would not suck, but like, well, actually, it would suck. It would have sucked. I mean, let's be honest. I didn't have any exposure to him either, so. But yeah, it was interesting to see. I really do feel like this is an event though where going forward, even the Masters, I think this is a better event for Spieth. So something else to keep in mind. But anything else before we move on? Talk about the old Canadian Open, eh?
You excited? You proud?
Oh yeah, no, not really.
No, not really. I mean, just kind of looking over some of the stuff we had. Again, it was kind of average week. I think we had a lot of guys. I think we keyed in. It's just you got to make sure you put the right combinations together. It was a great event, and we'll move on. I mean, it just doesn't get more exciting than having that kind of finish. So anytime you have
Yeah, absolutely.
that scenario, it's a good event, and we'll move on. One thing I will say, I was very disappointed to see Tiger miss that putt, and then thinking that he wasn't going to get into the Bridgestone.
Oh yeah.
And then Spieth helped him out, and that's how he got in. So that's the one thing. The last note I guess I'd take. I'm excited that he's going to be able to play at Firestone one more time.
Well, just and one other thing that missed putt cost someone
Yep.
$1 million.
Yep, I was
So
talking about that. I mean, it's I can't even imagine. Like
it's pretty sick.
it's kind of funny because it's a joke that you might make. Like if you could pick anyone in the world to make a 6-foot putt to win you $1 million, who would you pick? You'd pick Tiger Woods.
probably pick Tiger. I mean, it's funny because I mean this kind of thing does happen at like every major championship. Like there's someone who's got a chance and they need someone to make a putt. Either they make the putt and they win the guy, but it pretty much happens at almost every millionaire maker we've had. I mean, I remember the Dustin Chambers Bay was a big one for a couple people, and there's been other examples, but that's what it comes down to. The Millie, it's such a big tournament. You have to have everything go right for you all the way up to the end. So there you go. Cost them $1 million.
Well, up to Glen Abbey, which I'm excited about because obviously the little bit of history there. In the past couple of years, or at least when they first came back to Glen Abbey, there wasn't as much history. Now they've played there for 3 straight years, 4 of the last 5, I want to say. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah, we can gauge a little better. You know how much I like being able to see that course history. So, great course, Nicklaus design, par 72, 72.53 for the yardage. You gotta have to make some birdies this week. It's not a major. It's the Canadian Open, and they've shown you can score on this event. Average winner is 15.7 under par. Driving a key factor. Just kind of going over some of the notes I have here. Driving the ball well both ways, not just distance or accuracy. You need both of it off the tee. Other than that, I mean, you look at what the DJ was it Jonathan Vegas Open, kind of like so.
I mean, I've got good memories of Jonathan Vegas here, at least from 2016. I actually don't have last year. I wasn't on him at all, but 2016, it was my kids. I think my kids were like 2 months old, and I have twins, so I was, I woke up on Sunday. I got like 2 hours of sleep because they were up at night, and I checked out the tournament. I don't think I had much going on at the time. And then I just saw Vegas had started like 3 under in his first 4 holes. He was like 1 off the lead. And he was like 80 to 1 on my sports book. So I'm just like, throw like $20 on the each way and to win each way. And I'm like, like 5 hours later, I've got like, a couple K in my account. It was great. I mean, it was amazing. It was one of those situations where I caught the book at the perfect time right before they dropped his odds. And then he posted like, a 64 that day, and everyone just crumbled on the way in because the greens were playing really fast that year. But and then that's one thing to consider too. If you look at the 2016 results, the greens that year were absolutely burned out, so the course played tough. Then last year it was softer. They got to 21 under. Looking at the weather, it's much more likely it's going to play soft again. There's rain in the forecast. There's some rain, maybe even during the play, so it could play soft. I wouldn't be shocked to see him break 20 under again. So just something to take note of.
I was just looking at going through some of the pricing here. Slightly more aggressive, I thought. Maybe DJ. I figured if DJ probably played well last week, maybe he'd touch 12. But I don't know if we'll ever see a 12,000 price again. I think those days are over.
I feel like they've capped it at 11.7 or something. So
that's crazy.
I mean, DJ 11.7. You can still use them. I mean, there's actually. This is a deeper field. That's the other thing I guess we should kind of touch on than I think you're used to seeing here a lot of years. Then we got Fleetwood here, Garcia here, although Garcia sucks now, so maybe he doesn't even matter. But, you got guys in the 7K range who are very, very playable this week. It's not like the John Deere where we were kind of making fun of people. You got like a guy like Shane Lowry at 7,500. You got Chris Kirk in the 7K. Yeah, even going lower. I mean.
You got 12 of the top 50 in the world, which it doesn't, it's not a huge amount, but it's a lot more than I think, like you said, you'd expect in this event, especially with a lot of these guys coming back from overseas. 25 of the top 100 in the world. So, there's some decent players to consider this week.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we'll get to see some of these guys in the 7K. And there's some players who are in really good form right now that you're probably going to want to check out. And like guys at the 7K even lower that I wouldn't be blink my eye, put in a cash game lineup. That's the kind of form we're talking about. So, but yeah, I mean DJ 11-7. I mean Brooks Koepka, Fleetwood. I mean, look, I could probably make an argument for all these guys, but Dustin's ranked number one in our Survival Guide. I mean, Koepka's number two, and I think Fleetwood's three, isn't he? So we basically have them ranked at the same. Yeah. So.
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not going to tell anyone not to play Dustin, but at the same time, like, it comes down to, do you have enough value? I guess I wouldn't be shocked. I won't be shocked if Dustin comes in here and wins. I mean,
that's the thing. I think you already made that case for Dustin by being excited about those guys in the 7K range, though. You know, I mean, at this course, 3 starts, an eighth, a second, and a second. So if you're also right to double down on you already making the case, if he's just a little rusty because he hadn't played in a month, sure, he didn't make the cut last week, but he played, he got out early, he got 2 extra days of rest to come back over here. Listen, we got him ranked second in form even with the missed cut because of how well it is relative to the field. First in history here. Second in secret stat, and obviously he's number 1 in the world. The only thing he doesn't have is the trend because of what happened last week. But I think that's the argument for Dustin. If you believe that he was just kind of like hadn't focused the right way in the last week, well, now he's stepping into this. But yeah, I mean, I can make the argument for the guys around him too. I mean, Fleetwood obviously playing extremely well worldwide. I mean, that's what he missed the cut in France, but on the PGA Tour, I mean, three straight cuts in the last 12 weeks. Average finish is 7th. Hasn't played her before, so I'd be interested to see. But I mean, coming off of last week, what do you think Sergio Garcia's ownership's going to be this week?
Some people will talk themselves into him. Maybe between 5 and 7%.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, it's still like.
Yeah.
How?
I know. Especially because Bubba Watson's playing too, who's in good form, and he's got a good record. This is like a Bubba. This has turned into like a Bubba course because these bombers have sort of figured out how to cut corners here and there, and they can. There's 4 short par 5s. I mean, the 18th plays basically a guy like Bubba. If he hits a decent drive, he finds the slot and it rolls to like 350, and then they have like a wedge into the green on a par 5. So that's the kind of holes you're talking about for a guy like Bubba, and he likes courses like that. It's almost like the Travelers, except it's a par 72. So it's hard. I talked myself into Sergio last week. The narrative, he actually had made a couple cuts at least coming in. I'm not even going to bother with him this week. It's not even going to cross my mind. Not going to think twice about it. Is this a place where Finau gets it done?
That's another thing. I mean, this is a place, like I said, bent grass greens. He's playing extremely well. I think it's a good spot for him. I think
it should be.
I mean, listen, he's made all 3 cuts at this course. Average finish of 32. Let's see. Fifth. Finished 5th. Last year. I mean, listen, that average of 32, I mean, he made it on the number in 2016, so didn't play as well, but I guess, 22nd in 2015, so that he's played well here. He's playing as well as anyone on tour. We had him ranked 4th in form, basically behind the top 3 guys that we already mentioned. So at that price, you got to think he's going to be high owned, no? I mean, he's probably one of the more popular guys, unless you're really going to go with DJ, it might be tough.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, the thing that probably will keep his ownership down to under 30% is this field's so deep. Mm-hmm. So some people are gonna, obviously, people are just gonna say, "Well, Dustin Johnson bounced back. He's played well here," but then some people are gonna go, "Well, Brooks Koepka, he's cheaper than Dustin, and he made the cut, and he's going to be a good tournament play." And people are going to say the exact same thing about Tommy Fleetwood. So those guys are going to garner at least 10%, in my opinion, Koepka and Fleetwood. That's all going to take away from at least a little bit of Finau. I could see Finau, just being like his normal 20 to 24%, not being crazy chalk, and just being fine at that price. I mean, I'm not going to shy away from it at all. So
I mean, I can get really excited by a Finau Kuchar like cash stack.
Absolutely, Finau Kuchar. And okay, I mean Kuchar for cash, I understand, but Would you go Kuchar over Neiman this week? Do you have enough confidence that like Kuchar's game is kind of running back into form?
Well, yeah, I mean that's why I specifically say cash there because
Yeah,
I feel more confident that something crazy is not going to happen. I mean, you look at Kuchar finally he's playing a bit better, and obviously the form at this course is phenomenal.
is great. Yeah,
RBC guy, right? So
yeah, yeah.
uh, Joaquin, I'm not really sure. I guess what Neiman got a week off last week, and but yeah, I don't know. It seems like the price is right for a guy. I mean, if you look at some of the stats the guy has, I think he's the sexier play right now. I mean, listen, what isn't sexier than Matt Kuchar? But we have them basically ranked like right next to each other, even in like the FGM score.
Yeah.
They're both first class guys. Technically, we have Neiman just fractionally above him, but I don't know, just something. I don't know why I haven't gotten on Neiman in terms of like being confident. It's just a weird bias about him being a new guy I just don't know much about. Whereas in this event with Kuchar,
Well, I
um,
mean, I think it's a legitimate thing to talk about because, I mean, look, he was T23 at the John Deere and T5 at the Greenbrier was solid, and then he was T17 and then he missed the cut. So it's not like he's going out and like blasting his value every week. Like he's solid and he's good, but it's not like, I mean, outside of the Greenbrier and I guess the Memorial, it's not like, I mean, because his price has gone way up, right?
yeah.
Like he's been over, I think he's been over well over 9K last three tournaments. So
Hmm.
you need a top five at this point basically, and he's still only 19. I mean, I always say that, but I just feel like his time might be like 6 months from now, not right now. So I think it's a legitimate gripe. I might still play him instead of Kuchar. I haven't quite decided. I think that's actually going to be probably my biggest decision of the week, but. Yeah, I think it's a legitimate thing to bring up. So, especially with Kuchar's course history here.
Um, you look through this range. I mean, not many of the other guys excite me. I'm not even excited about Kisner after last week. We have Poulter and Woodland up in the second class, but none of these guys. I mean,
Yeah,
Hoffman,
then.
maybe Hoffman. Just
Oh,
'cause,
yeah. Actually, Hoffman does kind of excite me a little bit.
you look at his,
I
his
like it
course
when
history.
I like it when Charlie starts putting together top 20s too. It's usually a good sign for him.
Heading
Like he's
into
got four top 20s in a row. Two of those are actually majors. So
yeah, and you look at his last four times on this track: second, seventh, 16th, and 28th. So
yeah,
this is probably a good spot for Hoffman. And I mean, I feel like I'm building this lineup in my mind right now. I'm already with Finau, Kuchar, Hoffman. This feels like the cash lineup, and I'm probably, I'll get another 8,000 player, and then two guys in the mid sevens and low sevens, and call it a day.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a bad way to go. But no, I mean, Hoffman was the guy from this range actually I was going to bring up because I just like it when he starts putting together top finishes. He's someone who once he knows he starts playing well, he gets a lot of confidence and he takes off. He's a talented guy. So good, really good history of this course. Obviously lost the playoff last year, so definitely would be the target for me. But I'm with you. I mean, I'm just not super excited. I'm sure a couple of these guys will play well. I mean, Brad Snedeker will probably pack up like a top five.
I know.
Now that we're off him, right? I mean, it's one of those things. But
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
you know,
it's funny to see a guy 81st in form still make our second class because he's second in history. I mean,
yeah.
a fifth, a first, and a fifth. So we're giving him that benefit of the doubt just for having the history here.
I mean, if I was just going to pick one of these guys, I'd probably pick Snedeker, for like a GPP play out of this range. I'm not playing Wes Bryant at 8,300
No,
or Lingberg.
not after we got burned last time.
Yeah, not after the shot. Oh, I learned my lesson. Oh well, too late. But yeah, the 7K range is where it gets interesting because, okay, it's actually, I don't know exactly why the prices were delayed on DraftKings this week. I assume it's because the full odds aren't out, but there are some pretty glaring errors this week. Like to have Ben Ann at 7,800 and like Wes Bryant at 8,300 and Lingworth at 8,200. I mean, what the hell? Like, why? It's ridiculous. And then you have a couple other players like that too, like Chris Kirk at 7,600.
Well,
Who's
what's
like,
funny, yeah, I mean, Chris Kirk we have up there in the first class. We've been we're waiting for him to break through. I feel like you and I have been really on Chris Kirk. And listen, 6 straight cuts made, 29.7 average finish. I mean, we've ridden a good wave of Kirk, even if he hasn't had the high finishes. If you're playing him, he's
Yeah.
making cuts, and that's the most important thing because I feel like we've every single week we find that his price he's undervalued, so he keeps popping up. Interestingly enough, the highest ranked guy we have in the sevens, Sink at 7,100.
Right.
We have him 19th in form, third in trend, third in secret stat. I mean, he's been. I mean, listen, people have been on Sync. It's not surprising. I just think it's surprising to me that he's ranked so high with the price so low, given the fact that he has played well and people have been on him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, made the cut again last week. I don't even know what he finished actually, but I think he actually finished pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, he shot 4 rounds of 72 or better. Total one under T24. So I didn't look up his course history. Did you? I
Uh,
didn't get around to
he's
it.
3 or 4 cuts. Let me see. Let me see
It would seem like this would be an okay venue for Stewart Sink.
I mean, yeah. Well, he's got. It's interesting because the last 2 years it's not good. It's 62nd and 81st, but in 2015 he finished fifth, and the only other record
Right.
goes all the way back to 2004 where he finished
Yeah.
fourth. So you kind of can really count that one, but in the last 3 years he has the one good finish, but not the last 2 years. So kind of iffy. But yeah, I mean, if he's striking it as well as he is, um, that's where it's at. It's the putter that is kind of not. Oddly enough, it's the putter that's not that good. I mean, he's never really been a great putter, but
Yeah.
he's a better putter than he has been
He's been
recently.
better lately. Yeah.
Mm.
I guess you could make the argument, go Sink and cash games, and then because there are like 3 or 4 players in his range, like younger players that the upside and the trend for them. I mean, talking Sam Ryder, Harold Varner,
Yeah.
the third. If you want to get a little crazy, Cameron Champ is in this field. Cameron Champ hits it so far off the tee. It's at like he might hit it in the water on 18 off the tee, and I'm talking like the water is like straight ahead, like 400 yards. Like this guy hits it longer than anyone on tour right now. I almost guarantee it. You probably will see it in the stats next year, but yeah, he just won on the web.com tour. He had this he's had this big run on the web where he's been like top 10 every week. Finally broke through, so he's making a start this week. I don't know. I mean, I think he's an interesting GPP play. Obviously, for cash games, I wouldn't. I would probably go Sam Ryder, who I know you kind of like, and he's definitely. If you look at the stats, like birdie or better, par five scoring. Sam Ryder's really playing well right now, so I like that play at 7,100.
I'm actually a little surprised that Champ isn't up there in the models because we have been tweaking a little bit with the web and the euro, and that web string is just outrageous. I mean, we have the tab up
Yeah,
there now, first, eighth, fifth, seventh, fourth, 11th. That's like, I know it's the web.com tour, but I mean that's really good. So I got to look
yeah,
at that. I mean, like you said, Ryder, obviously a guy that we've discussed at length, or at least a lot more than you'd expect us to talk about a guy in that kind of range class. But at 7,100, 18th in form, doesn't have any history here, so hard to say. But really putting together. Is it technically his rookie year on tour, right?
yeah. I think it is
I
actually.
know he
He's
made some
like he's like
starts, but
28. He's like 28, but this is the first like full year he's had, I think.
yeah, really putting together a nice season.
Yeah, especially recently. I mean, he was in contention at the Barbasol, shot like a 63 at the Barbasol in round three last week, T2 at the John Deere. So, I mean, the recent form is just insane. And, some of the way he's been scoring, it seems like it's going to set up really well for this course. So, you got some decisions to make this week at some of these price ranges because there's multiple plays. I mean, don't we have like HV3 ranked really high too?
Harold Varner, yeah, we have him in
Yeah,
the
he's in the
first
first
class.
class.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at 7,100 too. So that's three guys that we're kind of
And then
really high on
if you
that range.
really want to get, I mean, we haven't gotten down there yet, but we got two guys in the sixes in the first class. Lanto Griffin, who I know you kind of got excited about, he fell off towards the end of the week
Yeah,
last
still
week,
solid.
but I mean, listen, what do you expect? I mean, but he's made he's 5 of 8 cuts, but I think he's made 5 straight.
Yeah,
So that's where the form's really coming in for him. And then you look at Wheatcroft, who we had ranked pretty high last week. He finished, I think he finished eighth at Barbasol. So, a guy that's playing fairly well. I mean, not to mention he's played well here. I mean, Wheatcroft's 3 of 3 cuts.
Oh,
Uh,
Wheatcroft was the guy who imploded down the stretch tree in 2016. He was in the final group. he had a chance. If he had birdied, he would have pushed Vegas to a playoff, and then he bogeyed the last hole, which is like the easiest hole in the course. So, but no, I mean, like he almost won this event.
Yeah,
So
so I mean,
there you go.
it's kind of like converging trends for a guy. If listen, he's a 6,500 guy, and I'll still argue that makes sense, but he is in our first class, so you know if you feel comfortable going with him, you can make a lot of different lineups possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lanto definitely agree. Blaine Barber is another guy. He's just like the verge of the first class, I think.
Yeah, I think Barber's the first guy in the second class. I want to say, or no? Hold
Oh
on.
yeah, sorry. No, he's like on the verge. Yeah, he's still in the second class, but Hunter Mahan is another guy who's playing okay. He's 6,800. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what I meant off the top. Oh, Tom Lovelady is another one. He's playing pretty good. Good par five scorer. So I'm not sure where he's ranked this week. He might not be. He might be a little lower, but
Yeah, let's see.
yeah, Lovelady. Lovelady, the data maybe not as much, but
Well, he's in the third class. I mean, I think it's the average finish. I mean, what he played well last week.
mhm.
I think overall, you know, the average finish is probably what's holding him down. But he's a guy that if you're looking at recent form, like you want to jump on a guy that played well last week. I mean, there was a handful of guys that you can probably point to and say, hey, maybe they're looking to make the step up, and he's probably one of them.
Mahan. It should be noted. I think it was 2013. Mahan was leading at
Yep,
this
that's where he
venue.
left.
Then he withdrew, like as the leader. I think it was after the second round. He had
Yep.
like a 3-shot lead. So that was the year Snedeker won. So it's not like he's unfamiliar with this venue. But again, back to my point. There's multiple players that I will not be shocked to see pop up under 7K this week. So it's a good field. I mean, it's a pretty exciting event. The course is good for DFS. I mean, if you get 6 players through the weekend, anything can happen because you guys can shoot 66 here quite easily. So yeah, interesting event.
Trying to think, anyone else here that kind of shot out to me or really surprising. I mean, most of the guys that I thought were going to be up there are up there. Streb played well last week. He was a guy I think like a week or two ago.
Strebinator.
Yeah, I was interested in him. I mean, just because the secret stat on him is heading in the right direction. I mean, other than that,
I mean, Keith Mitchell at 7,400, I don't mind at all. I don't mind the price on that. Got another good par five scorers, top 20 in par five scoring.
not
I mean,
sure.
Tyler Duncan keeps playing well.
Yep, still there. Not sure what to do with Dahmen this week. I mean, he's back to putting together like a silly run for a guy that that one little on Twitter bet that we had was like the worst timing. It was like six or seven straight top 20s, miscut, 5 more straight top 20s. Like
Yeah.
it's like come on. Not I don't know if you can read into it. I mean, he only has the one start here. He finished like dead last. Let's see, when was that? But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys where it seems like it's pretty simple to look at if you want to call them chalk, but you can be confident in some of these lower priced guys, and it's a little surprising to see him down there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's just, geez, JJ Spawn only 7,200. I kind of forgot about him. I mean, yeah, well, a lot of options this week. Almost too many. It's you know, it's one of those things where you're just gonna have to make some tough choices, I guess, and probably get sick when you see some other players, high up in the leaderboard. I will say that. Oh, one other name I'll throw out: Adam Svensson, 6,300. He's won on the Web.com tour this year. Really good ball striker. He'll be on the PGA next year. That's another play. I mean, he's fully in play for me this week. I would not be shocked to see like a top 20, maybe a top 20 being like his ceiling, maybe, but a top 30 or something is very much in reach. So he's completely playable in my mind at 6,300. So there you go.
See, Ricky Barnes snuck in. We have him. We don't have him ranked that high. I just sorted everything by history rank to see if there are any kind of like interesting names pop up that have played fairly well here. He's one of them. I know he just got in like throughout as an alternate. JB Holmes. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Holmes is here too.
Holmes is playing. You want to
He'll
go
probably
back?
be low owned too because he's like 8,900. So
Oh yeah, I mean, how do you? There's too many of the actual good guys up in that range. I think
Yeah, exactly.
He's probably a real. I wouldn't be surprised if he's under 5%, right?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's about it. Anything else?
Not really.
Yeah, it's an interesting stretch we're into because we've got the Canadian Open this week, which is kind of like the last regular season of what's the second last like regular event,
Yeah.
because then you have the WGC, the PGA, and then the Wyndham, which is kind of like an afterthought event. But I mean, some good players usually end up there. But yeah, I mean, last week, and then we got two kind of bigger events, and go from there. So I don't know. I mean, this is like I said, it's actually a good field. It's actually going to be a pretty good week. It's just it's a week after major too, right? So.
Yeah, I would say that just the fact that we're not being hard on the event, is giving it respect. I feel like we've been beaten down on some of these weak events in these
Yeah,
podcasts, and like, what, we're not going to say anything mean. We're not going to get too excited, but we're going to say, what, it's the Canadian Open. It's good field, and let's get to the Bridgestone. Let's go to the PGA.
Yeah.
Let's go to the end of the year. It's really weird, man. I don't feel like we're so far into the season. I feel like we're still like halfway. But every time each week I update, I look at the schedule. I'm like, oh my God, there's like no events left. Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
It just kind of crept up on us.
the PGA just kind of comes and goes, and then it's like it's over. It's there's the playoffs obviously, but it's only 5 events, and it's just the playoffs. It's kind of funny. It's going to be interesting next year when they switch the PGA and the players. I think that's going to make it really interesting. I really like the schedule change. I think the PGA actually, for once, I actually agree with something a major sports organization did. Like, I think it's a great move. They shortened the playoffs to 3 weeks. Everything is like done by September. There's a little break. It doesn't interfere with football. I think it's just a great scheduling move to have the players in March, the Masters in April, the PGA in May, U.S. Open June, Open in July, and then the playoffs. It just makes so much sense. There's big stuff happening every month.
One a month. Just give us one a month.
That's what people want. I mean, we want build up. We don't want 6 weeks of or 8 weeks of like the West Coast swing. It's fun for us because we know all the events, but it's still like we don't want 4 weeks of anticipation. So, or 4 months, sorry. So, anyways, obviously if you're listening to the website or the podcast too, guys, check out the website fantasygolfmetrics.com. You get in now. You by a month, you got the PGA. You're going to get like into the playoffs basically. You can get weekly. $5 only. It's great. There's a ton of different tools. Obviously, we still got a lot of golf left and stuff like that, but analysis articles and everything you want. So do check out the site if you're just listening for the first time, whatever. But Steve, before we get out of here, give me a winner for this week if you got one in you.
I think you made the pick for me.
That's not good.
I think I like Finau. I think he goes out there.
This should be a Tony Finau week, man. I mean, we've probably said that. I'm sure people have said that like 10. There's some people out there who said that like 10 times this year already, but this would be a good spot. I mean, he's going to catch Dustin a little bit off guard, coming off the missed cut. Some other guys maybe coming in not a little hungover from the major. I'm going to go with Chris Kirk. I'm going to go with Chris Kirk.
It's
I feel
time.
like I really do. I feel like he's just a hot putting week away. I mean, he's got you look at his stats, like he's really playing well. So it's obviously a little bit off the board. People probably know I like to go a little off the board by now with these picks, but I think this is a good spot for him personally. He's making cuts, playing well, so I'll go with Chris Kirk.
Be happy with either of those.
I'd definitely be happy with Kirk. But anyways, have a good week, guys. Check me out on Twitter at the Fantasy Grind and Steve at FG Metrics. Make sure you check out the site and have a great week.
Take it easy.